the Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Heathcote Botanical Gardens presents Can You Dig It? Here's your host, Vicki Hoyos.
Well, hey there, and welcome to another edition of Can You Dig It? And before we dig in this morning, I did want to thank Heathcote Botanical Gardens for underwriting the show, as well as our dear friends in Tallahassee, the Florida Division of Arts and Culture. Now, since our last podcast, we've gotten a couple of requests to give an update on our Fall Garden Fest. And so if you were not there, you missed out on a real treat. Over the two-day event of October 14th and 15th, we had about 2,400 people visit the gardens. We had over 60 vendors that were there. Our beef hamburgers came from Adams Ranch, so that was really lovely and sold out very, very quickly. In addition to that, we held our first ever scarecrow contest, and we thank Mrs. Sydney Liebman for her winning Flint and Maize. We also had the property appraiser there, the tax collector. We had Post Insurance, Boys and Girls Club. All of them had wonderful entries into the gardens, and we are just so thankful for what they're doing. And as a matter of fact, we've even gotten six or eight different vendors now signed up for next year. So if you missed it this year, you'll have to definitely check us out next October. Always happens the second weekend in October. So we thank everybody who sponsored us and for inquiring and for coming out. Now, we do have another event coming up, and I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Judy Salmon, and she and her late husband, Tom, created the first Garden of Lights, this will be our 9th year, and so 9 years ago. And so we invited Judy in because she's got some really good historical perspective on what is a really, really unique event in St. Lucie County, but we've started to brand it as the Treasure Coast premier event, and it is at Fort Pierce's own Heathcote Botanical Gardens. So I'd like to welcome Judy. Hey, Judy, how are you, honey?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, very good. Okay, you still nervous or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I kind of alluded to the fact that you and your husband, Tom, started Garden of Lights. Tell me where the whole thought process came from Garden of Lights.
Well, actually, it started after Tom and I had been to see the Christmas markets in Europe, which were truly magical. But we came home and he decided that he would research what other public places are doing, like gardens and zoos and cities, and came across Bellevue Botanical Gardens in the state of Washington. And we decided, we kind of focused in on that and made a presentation to the board, actually, of Heathcote, because I've volunteered there since 2007. And the idea was to recreate a garden in lights. So we planned to make all our displays. In fact, today, 95% of our displays are made by our volunteers. The first year was very challenging because none of us had done this before. So we looked at a lot of pictures and decided we can do this. So we have literally made lots of flowers and plants and critters. We have over 35 butterflies, a dragonfly, a crab, a hummingbird, and we have tried to create a garden in lights.
Wow, so handcrafted, so literally, and I've seen them do their workshops throughout the year, so it's literally bending wire, wrapping and strapping on lights. So these are unique, handcrafted. They're not big box store bought types of things. These are illuminators. That first year, about how many volunteer illuminators did you have?
We had a number that wanted to start. We started in March.
Okay.
And we had quite a few people that were interested, but for various reasons, it wasn't their thing, or arthritis in their hands prevented them from doing this. So there were actually about 8 to 10 individuals who really stuck through it. And we, like I said, we started in March, and through the summer, we made all sorts of flowers. And I will say that the first year was definitely a challenge, but it has expanded greatly since then. Each year we have new displays, and we try to repurpose our previous items into these new displays.
Wow. So so for those who have not been to Garden of Lights, and shame on you, we know that you're listening, and so now you're geotagged somehow that you're going to have to come. But it's a walking tour through the garden. And so when you come in through the main gates, you can walk left or right, and you walk through everywhere that you walk. There is some sort of themed garden.
Correct.
As you walk around until you get to the Santa station. He's a real person, of course, because he's there and he came all the way from the North Pole. But then you walk around, and then we have a lot of our bonsais are wrapped as well. So that was a feature. Did that come about the first year that you had it wrapping the bonsais, or was that later on down the road?
That was actually later on. In the very first year, we weren't allowed to even touch the bonsais, actually.
Okay.
We put lights on the pedestals, but the first 2 years, actually, we weren't able to put any lights on the trees. And then when we were, it creates a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
They're exquisite.
Yeah, it's a very unique ambiance that's there, because
Absolutely.
it brings the trees themselves to a different light. And no pun intended, but it brings a different character to it. And we had one of our illuminators last year that said in the Japanese garden where the bonsais were, not so much to wrap them, but to try and reflect some light upward on it, because it casts a brilliant, unique shadow on the house. Because the historic Heathcote house is right behind it. Right. And so you get all this different animation and things like that, so which was super, super fun. But back to the walking tour, walking through, seeing all of these displays. The illuminators do take an active part during the actual event, which runs for approximately 6 weeks. Are they docents? Are they talking about the different areas, or how the things were created? What's their role?
Well, I would say probably every evening for the event, there's a requirement of about 30 volunteers. And the docents are very important. They are usually illuminators, those who have worked on it all year long. So they are more familiar with what
are they more
displays.
Protective?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's all sorts of opportunities for volunteers. I will make that.
Hey, thank you.
But docents are very important. We walk around. We usually are in one particular area, and we're there to actually answer questions. People have a lot of questions when they see, usually it's, how did you do that? How did you make that? So we're there to answer the questions.
Mm-hmm. Very, very nice.
And then, of course, where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
That's another popular question.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, just for those who don't know, it does run for 6 weeks. This year, we're very fortunate that it's Friday and Saturday nights from November 24th through December 30th, and it goes from 5:30 to 9 in the evening. Are you planning on being there this year? I know
Absolutely.
You lost Tom a couple of years ago. It must be very sad for you to have to be there, but to see how it's continuing on.
Absolutely, for sure. I'm no longer able to actually work at the setup. That is very physical, and I'm afraid I can't do that anymore. But I definitely will be there at the for the events itself.
Yeah. Was there a particular one that you are very fond of, or you yourself participated in that just brings you joy, that we may be still using or brought joy back then?
I would say that probably the display on the main lawn has always been one of my favorite. It changes, but we've had a fountain, we've had a stream going through, and I believe this year it's going to be a stream again with a waterfall. But that's probably one of my favorite. And I will add that I had one visitor had come like the first year and had seen the pond that we had established. And she came back the following year, and she was amazed that we didn't have a pond there. She thought there was an actual water pond there.
Wow. Wow.
So
Okay.
I thought, Well, we were successful in creating that illusion.
Yeah, wow, very cool. Well, we also have Heathcote the bear, and I know that Heathcote the bear you're fond of that. So why don't you tell us what your relationship is with Heathcote the bear?
Well, actually, we had gone out to, Tom and I had gone out to Indiana to the company that sold this bear. And we fell in love with him immediately. He's just a cool item. And people respond so to him because they can climb all over him. They can sit at his feet. They can sit on his paws. And it's a great photo op. We have families that literally come back every year and say, "Oh, I have to have," So they have pictures for the last 8 years of their family.
Wow!
In front of Heathcote the bear.
Yeah, and he's about what, 8 foot tall, or is he more than that?
I think he's a little taller than that, but probably not by much.
Yeah, but he's pretty wide too. I don't know if he's exactly 6 feet, but he's pretty robust.
He is.
He's pretty robust for sure. Well, this year we're going to shake things up because we did move him off the pavilion and we're putting him in the gardens. And part of that is because people always knew where to go, and we want to encourage people to walk a little bit more around the gardens and have to seek him out so that when they see them, the thrill is there. Oh my gosh, there's Heathcote the bear, how fun! So I know his cap will be coming on soon, and his scarf, and his yearly sign denoting 2023. It's been fun watching the illuminators, and I think the audience needs to understand these are all volunteers. These are people who come in. They start in late January after their wrap-up meeting from the year before, and they start talking about how they're going to lay out the beds, what's going to be retired, what's going to be renewed, what needs to be new. We do a lot with recycling, and they make flowers and different items through recycling. So there's a lot of educational opportunities as well. But they start having workshops come March. And Absolutely. They're meeting once, twice a month, and they're creating, and they're putting all of these pieces into play. And then starting in late August, early September, they're literally working from the outside of the garden in to bring all of those items so that we continue to have weddings and other events on the main lawn that, you don't see Christmas things in the background. But these illuminators are very, very special. I think this year we counted out about 18 or 20 of them. A lot of them are couples who have probably been with you since the very beginning. They're just amazing in their dedication. We get these emails saying, okay, I'm in Maine, but I'm coming back on this date. Or, we have one now who's in Japan for a couple weeks. Well, okay, I'm coming back on the 10th, but don't expect to see me right away. Okay, we get you, but there's such talent, immense talent, particularly with the lights, the choreography with the lights, the technology that goes into a lot of it, and then the manual creations. And so we're just really super grateful for our Illuminator team. And I think that, the listeners need to know that these are all volunteers. And so if you, as a individual who loves to work with lights and would love to be a part of that team, we would encourage. There's always, for one reason or another, people are dropping off. A lot of it is they're moving out of the area. They're no longer physically capable of doing it. So if you love just bringing joy to people, the illumination team would be a great thing for you to participate in. They rock it every year. They floor me. I think last year was I went the year before as a visitor, and then last year I was an employee. And it was really kind of, I don't want to say bizarre, but to me it was bizarre because I watch all of these things going in, and we do these test nights to make sure everything is lighting and all the connections and all, and it's like, oh! And I'm like, when did they put that up? Where did that come from? What is that? And you're looking around at all of this illumination, and it's like, I didn't see that there. When were they working on that? And so you just feel dumbfounded that you've missed these opportunities, but these lights literally come to life, at Garden of Lights. And we're just so, so thrilled to be able to bring that to the people. Jesse wants me to do something. Okay. We can go ahead and take a break right now. We'll be right back with Judy. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a few minutes.
If you dream of creating a home with furniture where you make life one long weekend, visit Sunshine Furniture now and save 50% on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington during the fall savings event. Bedroom, living, and dining room, home office, media, and occasional furniture that is inviting and comfortable, Tommy Bahama and Lexington offer everything you need to furnish your Florida home. We're also having a huge half-price fall sale on lots of other coastal furniture by Universal, Hooker, Riverside, Seawinds, and Capri, including big sales on patio furniture by Berlin Gardens, Lloyd Flanders, Telescope, Kingsley Bait, and Windward. All pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price, and in-stock rugs are on sale too. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and be sure to shop our outlet store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
The Port St. Lucie High School Drama Department presents Footloose the Musical. The show is packed with hits such as Footloose, Let's Hear It for the Boy, Almost Paradise, and Holding Out for a Hero. Footloose features a cast of 50 performers and a live orchestra. The show runs January 25th through February 4th. Tickets are available now at Perkins Restaurant in Port St. Lucie, Vivid Salon and Spa in St. Lucie West, and Joy's Ice Cream in Fort Pierce. See why 250,000 people have seen one of our performances. More details at pslhsdrama.com.
Celebrate Thanksgiving the old Florida way at Marsh Landing Restaurant. Enjoy traditional dinners with all the trimmings. Make reservations now and let Marsh Landing do all the work. Marsh Landing in historic downtown Fellsmere. Online at marshlandingrestaurant.com.
It's hurricane season. Prune your trees now with Scott Tree Services. Strengthen your trees against high winds and remove damaged limbs that could become missiles. Don't get nervous. Call Scott Tree Services.
Well, thanks for coming back, and we're talking with Judy Salmon. She is our original elf with our Garden of Lights. She was the original illuminator with her late husband, Tom. And so we've been talking with her today about how the whole process started and some of the great features that it has, and just kind of tapping into her memory of all the historical things. And one of the things we were talking about on break is the creativity of these folks that are out there. So talented. I've seen some amazing creations, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? How did they even do that? Is there anything that stands out for you? Any one particular one that you just has floored you with how they put that together?
I think it's more accumulative, like, for example, the creativity in the creation of the vegetable garden.
Yes.
That has evolved over the years. That wasn't in a display in the first year, but I believe it was the second year. And just as a note of historical interest is that we decided how we were going to make the corn. Mm-hmm. And it took a couple iterations, but we finally were able to get the lights lined up so it looked like corn. But it was generally agreed upon that this would probably be the last time we would make corn. It was not one of the favorite items to make, but that has expanded now to include pineapple and cabbage and I believe broccoli this year.
Wow. So, well, you got to have green on your plate. It's got to be well-rounded. Yeah, all the food groups, all the different things. That's awesome. We were also talking about some of the obstacles we face, and the biggest one, of course, is getting volunteer illuminators. Things happen, and just reaching into that pool of talented people. But we also, being a botanical garden, we have the critter issue. And one of the things you were just telling me, it has happened in the past. I thought it was new to us this year, was our lights wrapped in the trees and the squirrels eating some of the, I don't know if it gives them a buzz. I don't know what it does, but chewing the wires on some of the wrapped trees. I think it's a coating, a soy-based product is how they coat the wires. And so having to say, oh my gosh, how do we do that without getting rid of the squirrels? And that's, peppermint oils and different things that are a deterrent and make it less tasty, I guess. But we're certainly looking forward to having a time when we don't have to deal with all of those, but just by nature of being a garden, we are. There's always something going on, right? Yeah, it is. All right, so just to remind our audience, too, that it is 6 weeks, Friday and Saturday nights, starting Thanksgiving weekend, the 24th. It goes until December 30th, 5:30 to 9. The fee is $10 per adult. If you are a member of Heathcote Botanical Gardens, it is $5, and it is $3 per child that is 6 to 12 years old. And so we do encourage people to leave your pets at home. Normally the gardens is dog friendly. Unfortunately, because of the amount of people that come through, lights on the ground, it being a dark environment, we are really discouraging dogs from coming through the event this year. In addition to that, we wanted to bring some other color that's going on, and so I was asking Sam Comer, who is our chair for grounds and maintenance, as well as Sarah Wolpel, what's growing in the garden, what looks beautiful. And so they showed us the bromeliads right now are vibrant with red in them, so that brings an extra special color. This is a plant that doesn't need a lot of water. Unfortunately, those red blooms die very, very quickly. So you get probably about 2 weeks worth out of them, and then they move on. So I'm enjoying the color. And then my new favorite is zinnias. Zinnias are an annual, and I love this plant because one plant, the flowers that come out are multiple colors. You can have one plant that has 4 or 5 different colored blooms on there, which is absolutely amazing. And you can see that each one has a different texture to it. And so I also like them because they do produce a green flower, which is super cool, and because they're a leggy kind of plant that they're easy for clipping and putting in vases. So they have the kind of a wildflower look to them, but they are my new favorite because they just have so much robust color. And that's really what the garden is all about, is bringing to life all of those colors and beautiful works of art. And they do consider us a living museum. And so we're just thrilled to be able to share that with our community on the Treasure Coast. So we're wrapping up now. We hope that you got in and you were digging it today. We look forward to seeing you next month. We'll have more on Garden of Lights and some other things that are going on, some other happenings. So we thank you, and be cool, be groovy, and dig it.